Hello, everyone, and I'm sure you are having a great time. Welcome to another episode of VectoScalar Tech Talk. I'm your host, Vikas Jain. VectoScalar Tech Talk is a podcast on technology, digital transformation shared by senior tech leaders. And in this episode, we are going to have something unique. And I'm sure you must be excited about it. When you're watching this show, type excited in the chat box so that I can see that excitement, that the kind of excitement that we are having. So, what's unique about the today's episode? In this episode, our guest speaker, Professor Ganesh Bagler, is going to cover insights about R&D in artificial intelligence. Yes, we are talking about artificial intelligence in every aspect of life. Every industry is getting impacted. And let's see what Dr. Ganesh Bagler has to share about this journey. Before inviting him, let me share his quick bio so that you understand about him. Dr. Ganesh Bagler has had an adventurous journey from astronomy to gastronomy, starting with a serendipitous investigation for the food pairing phenomena in Indian cuisines conducted at IIT Jodhpur in 2015. Professor Bagler today is known for his pioneer research in computational gastronomy. His lab at IIIT-Delhi is known as the ground zero of computational gastronomy. By building keystone data repo algorithms and application, he has established the foundation of this emerging data science that blends food with artificial intelligence. Just imagine food and artificial intelligence. Innovative research from his lab has contributed to his niche dealing with food, flavors, nutrition, health, and sustainability. Dr. Bagler has an audacious dream of making food computable towards achieving a sustainable food ecosystem. Professor Bagler is the founder of FoodByte, a startup deeply rooted in the research from his lab. FoodBytes provides APIs, the digital building blocks of food, flavors, and nutrition for the enterprise to deploy customer-centric solution. And another insight, which we'll be talking about his adventurous journey. He is a professor. He told me before he has already spent time in graveyards, so that's an interesting journey. Probably we'll so probably we can start with that thing, Dr. Bagler. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Vikasji. It's my pleasure to be part of your show and to be talking to the audiences of this show.
Thank you very much. So VectoScalar Technology is a software company, and it's amazing to that the company has contributed to so many platforms. Now, let's talk about this spending time in graveyard. When did you did this adventurous activity?
Well, I did this as a teenager, and I did it partially because I was challenged about it, saying that spending time in the graveyard is not good for you and you will be haunted, etc. I just wanted to debunk that thought given by my friends, and that is how I ended up spending time in graveyard. In fact, I found that it is much more pleasant to be in the graveyard than in many other places in outside the graveyard, I would say. It was fantastic experience for me to be in the silence, to be in the midst of what I might call as the pleasant souls around me. So that was my experience. However, as a teenager, that was long back.
Okay, so any artificial intelligence or real interaction with any soul?
Well, unfortunately not. I wish I had any interaction with the soul slash ghost, as they would call my friends. But luckily speaking, it was more about talking to other real human beings. There, it was more important rather than any soul.
That's so interesting. Now, talking about coming back to the topic of artificial intelligence. So, what is AI for you?
For me, artificial intelligence is not very different from what it is for most of the audiences, which are lay or semi-technical audience. It is about our ability to capture human intelligence, expertise, intuition into a computer program or an algorithm. That's what it's all about. In the most simplest of the sense, that's what it tries to do. While doing so, of course, we use most sophisticated computer architectures, reinforcement learnings, transformers. These are all jargons, but at the same time, at the heart of it, that's what we are trying to do: capture the intuition, intelligence, expertise in a program.
Capture. So it's very simple application and understanding that capturing the intelligence through the program. And I think
Yeah, for
that's
human.
the
Yeah,
simplicity and that's the complexity. I think that's the beauty of artificial intelligence in that sense.
indeed.
So what kind of research at Indraprastha Institute of Information Technology, Delhi, involved at the Infosys Center for Artificial Intelligence?
Well, at IIIT Delhi, which is also Indraprasth Institute of Information Technology, we are heavily focused in computer science and different areas of computer science, which includes right from automated motor vehicles to tracking wildlife animals to all the way up to speech and speech synthesis, text generation, to various aspects of computational biology, which includes computational gastronomy. So we have a large pool of scientists slash professors who both teach as well as do research to the undergraduate and postgraduate and PhD students who are working on a diverse topics which include artificial intelligence. These days we talk a lot about artificial intelligence, but it is one of the a narrow purview of what could be called as computer science. So we are specialized in various areas of computer science, including that of ML and AI and DL and those hot topics that we talk about these days.
That's very insightful, and it's good to know that at the university level, so many advanced things are happening. Probably we get to not get to know about these things on a daily basis, but it was interesting to see that recently the Hindu published your article on data-driven delicacies. So PR is well versed with the work amazing work that you are doing. So now our
Thank
audience will be interested in knowing that what is actually computational gastronomy. So tell us about your work in computational gastronomy and how it entails artificial intelligence.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you that. While I do that, maybe you can flash the slides, which might help the audiences in grasping the
Okay.
concepts better. So you have the slides with me. You may want to just flash it up. So computational gastronomy, in summary, if you could move to the next slide, is actually about blending food and artificial intelligence together. When I say that, essentially, I'm talking about using, if you could move to the next slide, using food related data science, and blending it with computing, which means using algorithms in the context of computing, is what we are trying to do. And while doing so, we of course are touching upon different aspects of food, which includes traditional recipes, nutrition, health associations of the ingredients, carbon footprints of the ingredients and therefore the recipes. All of these angles we are including in our databases, which, by the way, were not available. You can imagine food being such an intimate and subjective matter, which we are emotionally connected with. To begin with, to imagine that food can be converted into a data science itself is a preposterous idea. And
Yeah.
starting from such a,
One. Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt, Dr. Bagler, in between. Probably you wanted to show some slide. The control is with you because I
Oh,
could
oh,
not share the
I'm
slide.
really sorry. I was under the
Yeah.
impression that the control is with you, but nonetheless, thanks for saying that. So,
Yeah.
well, a quick run through that
Yeah.
computational gastronomy essentially stays at a place where we are blending. It's a combination of two different worlds, that of food, intuition, and imagination, creativity, cooking, and other side you have data science, computing, AI, ML, etc. These are the two words which we are trying to put it together in a single place. And when I talked about the databases, here are the databases. By the way, these are all searchable. Searching on Google with any of these keywords, if at all required my name, but probably even that is not required. Recipe DB, database of recipes, that of flavors, that of health associations, and carbon footprints. We have made all available for explorations for non-commercial purposes. Just to give a glimpse of that, you might be wondering, what is this database, Vikashji? So, RecipeDB, for example, comprises of more than 1,18,000 recipes from across the globe, which includes 26 regions and 74 countries. That's a large data. And when I say so, I'm not talking about just another XYZ recipe database or a recipe cookbook. No, it is not. It is structured data, which audiences of this particular tech talk would be might be aware of. It is structured data in tables and columns, in terms of RDBMS, in terms of NoSQL. They are related in a certain manner. All of these data are made available in that manner, which means that not only that we are storing the data in a structured and logical fashion, but we are able to write algorithms, query them in an insightful fashion. That's what we are trying to do as part of computational gastronomy, and applications naturally happen as part of it. And as you can imagine, these data are the treasure trove, as one of them the other day explained in one of these tech Reddit interaction. Somebody said that it's a treasure trove. It is treasure trove. And we are making these available. This is my lab's QR code. We are making these data available for commercial purposes where companies can build it, and a variety of applications can be built. I'll just tell a couple of them maybe as we go along, but for the moment I'll just take a pause here, and that is the explanation about what computational gastronomy is all about.
That's very amazing work, and I like the mention of
I think you are
ratatouille.
muted. Yeah, yeah.
I like the mention of ratatouille.
Yeah, I'm here. I can
So
hear you. I can
tell
hear
me
you.
a bit more about that. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Maybe I can directly take you to Ratatouille, and that is where actually AI comes into the play, if you ask me. Because it is one thing to collect unstructured data about food and cooking from the internet, about the ingredients, the names of the ingredients, which category do they belong to, what taste and flavor do they have, how much calories do they have, what vitamins and minerals do they have. All of this is one part of the story, and that is what for the last 8 years we have been meticulously doing it. The next part of the story is that where is the AI, where is the intelligence? So in my opinion, chefs and anyone who knows how to cook well are the intelligent agents when it comes to cooking and food. If you can capture the intuition, expertise, and intelligence of a chef into an algorithm, that would be wonderful. And I don't mean to say it in a demeaning fashion. I in fact mean that if we can capture the creativity of what it means to be a chef, possibly we can enhance, expedite the creativity. We can enable the creativity of a real human being, so that the mechanical part of it is taken care by an algorithm, whereas the real cooking and the fun part is left with us as human beings. So Ratatouille, I'm sure a lot of you must have already seen this animation movie called Ratatouille, because I'm sure you have seen it for
Yes.
sure. So in this movie Ratatouille, a rat, Remy, is exploring the world of human beings, and he doesn't like leftovers being eaten, which is what his brethren are doing. And he's more interested in actually exploring the wonderful world of cooking that human beings, homo sapiens, tend to explore. And that is where his journey begins. And in this movie, Chef Gustav is a fictional character, but a chef. Chef Gustav keeps saying every time anybody can cook. And eventually it goes to driving down the point that even a rat who is interested in learning, knowing, understanding about cooking can cook. So we took this narrative a little to the extreme and say that can a machine cook? Can a computer cook? And this is classic artificial intelligence. This is the embodiment of artificial intelligence in the culinary space. And what we have been able to do is creating Ratatouille. All of you who are watching this right now or later can try out this link. You can actually click on this, go to the URL. You can choose certain ingredients. This is a prototype, a proof of concept that we have created, and you can ask it to generate a recipe. It will actually generate a recipe right from the title to the ingredients to all the way up to instructions. It will actually do that. You might want to try it, figure it out. So this is our tool, one of the tools among many that we have created, which gives a demonstration of where we stand today. Don't forget, ChatGPT is about generating recipes, reading and comprehending it, and trying to be amazed. Oh wow, what a wonderful lyrics, what a wonderful rhyming it is doing, or how well the meter is being recreated of a poem. The next thing is about visual sensory mechanism, wherein DALI, for example, or Stable Diffusion, you can create an image, look at it, and be amazed by the colorful display and the artistry that has been created. The next level would be music, auditory, okay, where it is already things are happening. Interesting models are getting coming out, basically, right? Not language model, but there'll be auditory models, and kind of models are being created. We are saying that it can be done in olfactory and gustatory, the nose and the taste, the sensory mechanism of smelling and tasting can also be captured. Not to say that food doesn't involve other sensory mechanism, it does involve tactile and other sensation, but that it could be AI could touch these domains is something which, even let me tell you, even Sam Altman could not comprehend. Because when he came to India, he came and visited our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, and he came all the way to IIT Delhi right from there. And in the open house meeting, it's all over, it's all already in the video. I asked him about I told him about how we are doing using cooking, large language models, and we are trying to blend it with cooking, and how hallucinations, while it is acceptable in a poem, is highly unacceptable in a cooked recipe. And he was amazed and surprised that we are doing that. Just to give you the story, complete the story of how AI is transforming the world of cooking.
That's very mind-blowing work that I'm seeing today. And also to add to this, once we have the devices where the way we, as you talked about different sensory movements, so now we can hear, now we can see, but soon with all the devices, if we can get this smell transferred to another location, like I think there are work going on such devices as well, where smell can be created, and what if the taste can be generated like that. The world is
Yes,
opening up with lot many opportunities.
just imagine what will happen, because we are now talking about defining any color using similar to RGB. Can there be any kind of RGB in the taste space? If you can create that, then the world will open up for something called as the Kodak movement, where recipes right now are literally created in the kitchens, but can we digitize them so that recipes are created, robots are cooking, and mocktails and cocktails, and the recipes are being made by the machines to satiate all of us who are foodies, who love eating food. That would be an amazing world, in my opinion. I call that as my Kodak moment of cooking, that is going to happen sometime sooner than later.
That's a kind of I think that's a kind of opportunity that we are seeing now with artificial intelligence. We have a question, Professor Bagler, in the comment box. So one of
Yeah.
the person is asking, what factors lead you to think on making food computable, as this sounds quite innovative and different. So how did that started?
How did it begin? Yeah, I know this is a very common question that is asked to me. Trust me, it is not an easy thought to come by, but I'm so happy that it all happened as a teacher, as a person who loves to communicate my idea to my students. It happened in a classroom in IIT Jodhpur when I was teaching a class on complex networks to a bunch of around 40 students. This idea came when I was presenting a research article as an illustration of networks of flavors. Basically, ingredients can be connected to each other via shared flavors. And while presenting that paper, this thought arrived that why not investigate the food pairing, as it is called, phenomena in the context of Indian recipes. And that was 2014, year 2014, and today we are in 2023. Roughly 8 to 8.5 years have passed, and amazing things have happened. So the opening spark was there, but importantly, that was not all of it. Three things happened. I realized that all of the work that I'm doing has immense curiosity driven dimension. You can actually ask fantastic questions. Why do we eat what we eat? What defines the identity of a cuisine? What makes a Punjabi cuisine different from that of a Bangla cuisine? How cuisines are related to each other? Can I take a recipe from one cuisine and change its character to another cuisine? Can I take a fried rice from Beijing's Bailins and convert it into Indian fried rice, which has already happened, by the way? But can I do it for any recipe? Such are the questions which are curiosity driven. Then second is industry driven questions. Can I design a flavor which is liked by anyone and everyone? Of course, industry would be interested in that because to make money out of it. And third is societal problems. Can we solve the problem of iron deficiency, B12 deficiency? So these three dimensions. One is that of academic curiosity. Second is enterprise, making industry out of it, industrial value, and third is societal value. These three directions are ones which are keeping me awake and driving me in creating this, making food computable.
With one project, it's great to see if you can target the academia, the industry, and society. I think what is left, only the spiritual aspect is left. I don't know if that can also be touched. That's So let's come to the next question. The next question is, could you demonstrate few example of AI generated recipes? You already shared the link. You want me to share the screen, or
Yes,
if you can
yes.
share your screen? Uh,
Maybe
let
I
me.
will open a new window and share it through that. Just a moment. I'm doing it right
Okay,
away as I talk to you. So I will
sure.
give you an illustration of how it works. Okay.
Okay,
So
yeah,
allow me
that
as
will be
one sec. I
interesting
think
because,
it should not take much
yeah,
time. Yeah.
because viewers would always be interested
Yeah.
in getting a new
So
application and they can see how it works.
yeah, it's a, but I must of course keep you apprised that this is going to be proof of concept, less of a final application. Nonetheless an important proof of concept that I'm trying to do here, by which I'm going to illustrate how it is possible. Let me take the full screen, makes life easy for me um, to share, if it allows me to do so. Yeah, it does. No, but it will create a lot of infinite windows, so I would avoid that. Let me take the Ratatouille window. A moment. Yeah, it is there, and share. So I hope the window should be coming through to you. Right now it shows
Ye-
empty. I'm just pressing enter, and the app should be coming up. I hope it doesn't disappoint me. Okay, there are some issues in terms of loading. In the meanwhile, by the way, the audiences, kindly please quickly go on to the website and quickly check out about how it works. Um, okay,
And
the technological.
while the website opens up, I got another question, which is regarding.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
let me just bring up that question. So Saddam Hussein is asking, what current trends or emerging areas in AI research do you find particularly exciting and promising, in addition to what you are currently doing?
Thanks for asking that question. You know what? I actually, in the meanwhile, by the way, Vikashji, I might as well ask
Yeah,
you to go to the website because I'm having some trouble at my end. It's a browser issue.
sure,
You might be able to do it better. I'll just stop my screen sharing.
sure.
Why didn't you do it in the
Okay.
meanwhile? Okay. And yeah, let's do it that way. That's better. And okay, let me answer the question. You know what? I actually started, as I said, from cooking perspective, food pairing perspective, data missing, and therefore collecting data, and then asking various interesting questions. And eventually I ended up reaching to culinary. Yeah, this is the website. So my problem is at my end, not your end. So you can do one thing, Vikashi, as I'm talking, you can select few ingredients. You can start typing any ingredient that you want in the text box. Anything, start typing onion, chili, potato, brinjal, mushroom, whatever you want, and keep picking ingredients one by one. Any number of them, some 3 4 of them, just pick them just for the sake of fun. You know, yeah. And try picking ingredient that we are familiar with among the list that comes up, so that it's easier for us to relate with that, that way,
For
so
example,
we
we
have.
usually don't think of onion, potato, and chocolate. So just trying to
Yeah,
see.
try doing it. You might end up getting something absolutely weird. Now why don't you generate a recipe, so that you know what it gives. So what it does is that at the back end it runs an algorithm which we have created over a time, and it will try to create something out of it. Sometimes it comes up very trivial, and sometimes very intricate. Like, I don't know what it is now coming up with. It said chocolate chili mix. Just imagine, it takes you Maggi savory instant potato soup mix. Then it is giving taking potato soup mix half cup and 4 tablespoons of chocolate. Okay, but not chocolate chips. It's very particular. You see that? And then it
Yeah.
says measure the chalk flour, and add 5 tablespoons. Mix until the flour is incorporated. Then spread the mixture into a green overspoot dish. Goes down. Uh, Cover with grated and chopped chocolates. I'm sorry, but the Saddam Hussein's question is actually overlapping, so I can't see below that. But I'm sure it actually takes you to the actual recipe. Vikash, you must be able to read it. So it essentially is creating a combo. By the way, just to tell you, this
Yeah.
combo is a known combo. Adding not so much chili, but a hint of chili added to chocolate is actually a very well known combination, sincerely. Okay, that's it. So it gives a new
So,
recipe. And if you
so
think,
now
oh,
this,
yeah,
if I may just ask, this is just generated in time. This recipe. that
Yeah.
this ingredient, and now AI is saying that this could be one of the recipe.
Yes, yes. So it's fresh. It's freshly generated. It's generated on demand, on the fly, right now. If I say regenerate, just click on the regenerate button, Vikashji. Same ingredients, it will come up with something new altogether. So it's Chat GPT for recipes. I told you, Sam Altman was surprised to see that we are doing it actually. Okay, here you go.
Coffee snack mix. Now it's
It
a
says coffee snack mix. And because we have given some off the bit ingredients, you will get off the block recipes also. But it gives you, look at the recipe instructions. It gives you right from the beginning all the way up to serve. So it's a proper recipe. Actually, it is giving. Now, important question that you and I will be asking, everyone should be asking, is that, hey, all that is fine to read, but how about making it meaningful, tasty, and
yeah,
delicious recipe?
yeah.
That's the question you should be asking. That's $1 million question
That
that I'm
was my
standing on.
next question. Is it eatable? Have you tried cooking, actually cooking?
Yes, and you should all be asking that question. So very quickly, I don't want to flash the slide. I have a slide, but I'm not flashing the slide right now. Let me tell you that what we are doing is that we are doing something called, it's a copyrighted and patented idea called Turing test for chef, TTC. What we are doing is that as an intermediate step, all the recipes which are generated, so we have a stack of real recipes, 118,000 real traditional recipes which are consumed day in and day out by cultures. And second, another similar stack of recipes as large as that, we have what are ratatouille generated, the AI generated recipes. So what we do is that we have created an interface, which is called the Turing test for chef. And on this interface, basically, you will be expert chefs will be tested out, for their ability to distinguish between real recipe and a computer generated recipe. That's what the idea is. And when you do that, the idea would be that if a chef who is able to whom we are able to fool into thinking that a real recipe is a fake recipe is real, if we can do that, then we are doing a good job. You hope I understand. So real recipe, yes, of course a chef can understand that it's a real recipe. That is a minimum prerequisite condition. And then we have this Turing test for chef, where a chef is fooled into thinking I don't know whether it is visible or not. Sorry for that. The camera is, I don't know what distance I
Yeah,
should be holding.
somewhat is visible, somewhat
Yeah.
visible. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, because I think it's because of the background. Now you can see that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a kind of a recipe. It will show up, and a chef is supposed to read it. And importantly, after reading it, he or she is supposed to give a rating. I don't know whether the rating will come up. Anyway, the reason I'm only showing you like this and not sharing the link is because
Yeah.
obviously this is a protected link. It is only given to expert chefs who will give their judgments. Some tens of chefs will be giving judgments on hundreds of recipes. After doing that, two things will happen. One, we will know how good is our algorithm, how well our algorithm are working. And secondly, the algorithm, we will be giving the feedback. It's a reinforcement learning about how our algorithm should be tweaked to make it better. Our ratatouille will improve and improve and improve with practice. By practice, I mean computational practice and neural network algorithm, better large language models, better fine tuning, etc. All of that will be done, and better recipes will be generated to an extent where almost every recipe that is generated by our algorithm ratatouille will be able to fool a expert chef. If we are able to do that, oh well, I told you it's $1 million industry. I don't have to impress more upon you on that.
And I think all of us can really see, as you initially talked about, that it's not just the industry. I think the academia, industry, and the society, the possibilities are immense, and the way already things are working. I could see probably when you explained about the Turing test, it's like CAPTCHA. So CAPTCHA was done for a different purpose, but I think it's kind of a CAPTCHA for chef for the recipe.
That's a good metaphor. That's a good metaphor. And the captcha is, I mean, it's less of, yeah, it's a captcha test, which is naturally done for an algorithm. And after that, you can trust the algorithm. In fact, I have lots of dreams. One of them is, of course, I mean, one is generating recipes of all sorts. I'll tell you what, the moment you can generate recipes, it opens up a new realm of possibilities. Recipes of desirable style, Mexican, Brazilian, Italian, recipes of desirable nutritional profile, only between 200 to 300 kilocalories. Recipes having certain ingredients and not having certain ingredients. I'm allergic to this, don't want this. I like this, I want this. Recipes of certain cost, recipes of certain carbon footprint. immense open-ended opportunities that are available.
And I think these are the possibilities. When I first heard you speaking somewhere around 4 years ago, and you talked about that, that's why the conferences of hotelier and these kind of conferences are inviting you to speak, to know what is happening in the future, what is the future of recipes. And I think there is a lot which lies there. So let's come back to the question which was asked by Saddam Hussein, that what current trends
Yes.
or emerging areas in AI research do you find particularly exciting and promising, in addition to what you are already doing?
Perfect. Let me answer that question quickly. So, as I said, I have reached all the way up to culinary creativity. That took me into what I was generally interested in, which is creativity as such. And is creativity automatable at all? Okay. Is there an angle? Is there an angle of creativity which says that, look, it has nothing to do with human being in flesh and blood? It can be a machine which can be as creative, as intelligent. Can we have an AI Einstein, AI Newton, AI Picasso? Is already, to some extent people are trying to do, right? Similar to that, all kind of human creativity, right from creative writing, painting, music, to chemistry, to puzzles. Can we have AI Vishwanathan Anand, etc.? So I'm working on that direction. I have already conducted a symposium on that called Symposium on Computational Creativity at IIIT Delhi. Next version is going to happen in the March. For computational gastronomy, we anyway do it in the December. Advertisement, let me use this space. 10th of December, we have this symposium on computational gastronomy. So please, those of you who are interested, please make it. Coming back to Saddamji's question, here it goes, that these are the areas which I personally am interested in. How large language models and similar kind of models can be created for different aspects of creativity, right from mathematical logic to chemistry, everything.
That's, and the list is endless. I must say the list is endless. There are a lot of opportunities. I can already see that happening.
Yep.
And in between, I see a commendation coming from the CEO of VectoScalar Technologies. Thanks for your insight. The kind of insight that have been shared on the platform already, I think it's very exciting. And I'm sure people who are going to watch this show in the future as well, because it is live stream and available on our YouTube channel, LinkedIn channel, and Facebook, they are
Yeah.
going to get benefited by this kind of research a lot. So I kudos to your work, the kind of work that you are doing.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks. My pleasure to be coming and talking and sharing our excitement, because I believe that the opportunities are endless. It's a huge spectrum. A lot of things can be done. And one lab, one person is not enough. All of us need to join the board. And as India, within India, we have immense, there are so many opportunities with and directions with which we can actually work on. So we should be doing that. And, we should be leading this space, in my opinion.
That's very important. And I also got to know that you have a startup called FoodByte. So tell us more
Yes.
about that. How that startup? What is the role of that startup?
Yes. So, we have been working on collecting data points in a meticulous fashion regarding recipes, flavors, nutrition, health, carbon footprints, which has just happened. And of course, we are creating applications. For example, given a platter, if I point my camera at it, a simple app like this, can it actually detect what dishes are there in my platter and naturally map it to its calorific value? And ratatouille, for example. All of these are applications which we are creating. So, FoodBytes provides you the digital building blocks of food, flavor, nutrition, health, and sustainability. What application you want to build using that is left to you. If you want an example, let me tell you. What is in your fridge is one of the applications built by our students as a demo. Okay, so you can actually take what is available in my refrigerator and it will give you a recipe. Either a real recipe as cooked in a day-to-day on a day-to-day basis, known recipe, or an unknown recipe using ratatouille algorithm, for example, right? And there are many such interesting, like I am allergic to this, can you give me a new recipe? Or an application called Recipedia, which actually keeps track of all your food that you're consuming on a day-to-day basis, and based on that gives you a new recipe altogether, or a recipe which is new but fits into your pattern. I know that you are used to consuming a certain kind of food, so it's a recommendation algorithm which is similar, not very different from what Amazon or Netflix gives you. Okay, even in that you will have also choice of saying surprise me, give me something new, I'm bored of eating same thing. Okay, These are the kind of applications that you can build using our digital building blocks. So what FoodBytes does, it provides you the digital building blocks of food, flavor, nutrition, and health, which is what we have compiled meticulously and keep compiling over time.
That's very insightful to say, and I'm also noticing one beautiful thing. What the way you have used the word, the combined the word food bites. It's such a simple thing, food bite, and it's not BITES, it's a BYTES.
BYTES.
Yes, and
It's a
the food
wordplay. It's
bite.
a wordplay. Yeah, it's a
Yeah. So
wordplay on food and digital. And by the way, in most of your audiences would know, basically what we are providing are the APIs, application programming
yeah.
interfaces, is what we are providing through which you can build what you wish to build.
And
That's right.
you just talked about Recipedia. So I see a lot of beautiful words. So it's not, I think the creativity is going in various dimension. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yes.
So how could company leverage? So we talked about the how especially the nutrition recipes and what are the opportunities, but in general, because I think especially after the chat GPT, there is a large thirst of companies moving towards uh, the open AI and these kind of model generative AI. So how do you think how companies can leverage the AI for their startup ventures?
In general, you are asking this question about
Yeah, in
how.
general, yes.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay. So, luckily, what has happened is that there has been a huge outpour of AI-driven tools, AI-driven models which have come up with, right?
Yeah.
Quite clearly, there are a lot of low-hanging fruits which practically everybody is going to jump upon, pounce upon, and going to use it. I guess eventually the space will be left with people and they will eat each other probably, or something will happen because of which all these low hanging fruit will be all squashed and nothing will be left there, essentially speaking. However, if you are working on an interesting problem and that you are working even 3 years back or 4 years back and were intensely interested in solving that problem, then today you have a lot of interesting tools and technologies. Right from, if you talk about OpenAI, just to take an example of a company, although there are many interesting competitors available, many better or comparable models available of large language models or image generation, voice generation, which is going to happen very happening already, by the way. All of these can be clubbed together either using API, which of course you need to pay for. Eventually, you need to have a business model which, after paying for the APIs and the maintenance and the team building part of it, etc., salaries of the team, you still are left with enough margin to be sustainable. So, in principle, this can be done as long as your idea is unique. If it is a run of the mill idea, probably you would not be able to survive, even despite the fact that there are so many interesting applications that are available. For example, just take a case study of Whisper. Okay, so if you want to make text, voice to text, and this seems like a wonderful opportunity for you to do so. But if the idea is mediocre and lackluster, probably you are not going to make profit out of it. Your idea has to really have a meat, which you have been building on for a while, and the idea is really has a core in it. Then yes, using whatever is available as a API, or as a, luckily because it is available as a standalone tool also, model, you can actually build a company out of it.
So that's an interesting observation here that which talks about that we can use and leverage the APIs, the kind of APIs that are happening, and see what works, how we can relate to our the project that we are doing and the problem that we are solving, and that can be probably the starting point.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yes. We have another question coming from Simple Setia. What are the challenges that you and your team faced while working on this project?
Right. Thanks for asking that, Simple. So, what turns out that, first of all, as they say, first they will ignore you, then they will criticize you, and then they will appreciate you, and then they will accept you. So some such path has been prescribed for anything dramatic, something out of the world that you do. The moment you say that as a researcher you would like to work on food, you are criticized. Initially they are ignored. "Oh, come on, what is he doing? Let's ignore him." But once you start showing some initial result, they'll say, "Hey, why the hell are you trying to do this?" As a researcher, if you are working on in silico drug discovery and some hot topic, you will be appreciated a lot. But if you're working on food and cooking using data science, what is this new nonsense is all about, right? So you can be joked about. In fact, in an IIT, I was joked about by saying that now Ganesh is going to create a restaurant. So this happens. So basically, criticism can be one of the easiest things, simple, that can happen. And the next thing that happens is about collecting data is not easy. Meticulously collecting data, curating it requires, other than semi-automated protocols, requires a lot of manual efforts. So that manual effort part is taken care of. Then how do you build a team around a topic which is unknown? If I were to create a team around software engineering as a class or a research project, if I were to offer, it's easy. Some established areas such as natural language processing, image processing, computer vision, I can do it easily. How do I go convince a research scholar that working in my topic, in this particular topic, not my topic, but in this particular topic, will give you enough wherewithal, research potential, so that you can go and do a company job in a company, a very good company, or for that matter, you can become a fantastic researcher also. That's my ability. So these are some of the challenges about team building, meticulous efforts required, and money required. Who will give you money? Because as a researcher, remember, I'm not a outright company person to begin with, or a corporate person to begin with, right? So who will give you money? None of these funding agencies will give you money if you start saying that I work on food and recipes and I'm trying to do something called computational gastronomy. So these are all challenges I have faced over a period of time, and I've found ways of handling it. And my ways of handling it is criticism, give a shit to it. Obviously, just keep working on it. As long as you trust in your idea, you keep working on it. You answer will come out of it. C, money required, be frugal. I have worked with a frugal model for the last so long time. Okay, trust me, I have worked with such a less money that money generate money generated per money invested, ROI, return on investment, is humongous if you calculate it. And I have used all of your public who pay taxes, whose money is eventually paid into my research. Trust me, every rupee, in fact, I've used least of your rupee, and whatever has been used meticulously. And of course, there is a win-win. I have worked with more than 200 research interns, which are young fellas. They gain out of it immensely in terms of experience, and I gain immensely out of in terms of using their energies, creativity. But it takes a lot of time and effort in me mentoring them. But that's worth it. What am I doing as a professor if I don't mentor these young fellas? So that's in summary, some simple my answer to your question.
I think what you covered in those simple words, the philosophy behind leadership. I think the thought leadership that we talk about, that you are even taking care of that money to the university is coming from the taxpayers' money, and you are even thoughtful about that deeper connection as well. So that itself makes you, and how you are taking care of. And as we in the IT or any industry, the forming a team, inspiring a team to work on your project, and especially when it is related to their career, that kind
Yeah.
of responsibility also holds that, okay, for a short term gain we can involve a new researcher in a project, but how that project is going to benefit that person. I think a lot of responsibilities, and I think you have handled all the aspects in a beautiful manner. So kudos to your the kind of thought leadership that you are having. So I'll just take up
Thank you.
the last question, because we already got so much beautiful insight from you. So what future do you foresee for AI? I think we already have started exploring the creativity angle in all of our mind. Who are watching this show have just jumped up, but still, from your side.
Thank you for asking that question. I am not a futurist, and it is the most difficult job to predict the future. And it's more difficult to predict the past also, but nonetheless, telling about future is very difficult, and especially a future which is so close to us as it seems when it comes to AGI, a generalistic or GI, generalistic artificial intelligence, which might come up, and AI might become sentient, are some of the fears which are being raised. But my fears are less about AI becoming sentient. My fear is more about AI becoming partial, biased, is my fear. So my understanding is this, that AI will be used, it has been used already in some of the tools that we use on day-to-day basis in our mobile phones, in simplest of the apps that we use, including the Netflixes and Amazons, and equivalents of that, right? From the recommendation algorithms to how advertisements are posed to you, the so-called AI, which has at its heart has got some kind of learning algorithm. It could be machine learning algorithm, regression algorithm, or some kind of reinforcement learning algorithm. It's already there. It tries to imitate human neural networks. That is why they are called artificial neural networks. Okay, so we will keep doing this, and until some tipping point happens, which did happen with transformers, which changed games dramatically. I think things will keep happening until another tipping point will come. Even with this rate, day-to-day technology will keep on incorporating these ML and AI kind of tools, and we will have technicians who are working on ML and AI. These are like radio mechanics when you have radios, for example. But we need visionaries who will actually think in terms of how do you emulate human creativity, human thinking, human consciousness and cognition in a computer program, and that is not an easy task. And that is not going to come from regular AI ML guys, and that is where there is no competition there. There is no
No,
competition. So those of you who are seriously interested in working in AI, work on those challenging problems.
the opportunities are immense, and the way you share in those softer words, I think there is a lot of inspiration that you are giving to us, that how much possibility exists in the world, because there is a section of industry which is again getting terrified that it is going to consume job scarcity, and that is going to be there. But I think the optimistic side, that it's going to create so much opportunity, and definitely there is an option of opening a restaurant chain as well that exists.
So on that count, with your permission, Vikashji, I will share you something. I remember I
Yeah,
told you about me being criticized in a IIT boardroom
yeah,
or in a
that's what
IIT
I
faculty
mentioned.
room.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you about that. I vowed that I will actually open a restaurant, or I will feed into a restaurant. So today my ratatouille algorithm is actually generating recipes which can be cooked, really ideally speaking. And if I were to create a restaurant, it will be called Blend It Like Bagler, because I don't know how many of you know this movie called Bend It Like Beckham. So using that catchphrase, I'm trying to create that one thing. First of all, second, AI is not going to take the jobs away, in my opinion, partially because the core of human creativity is very difficult to take away by the machines even today, while we are getting afraid of this generalistic AI that might come. It is difficult. And within the specific domain of culinary creativity, I have a catchphrase which I've created. I say that AI is not going to replace a chef, but a chef using AI will be replacing a chef not using AI. So jobs won't be taken away so easily. Only the monotonous, boring, routine jobs will be taken away. But the real creativity will lie in the hands of real human beings, and AI will be enabler of that creativity and won't be a destroyer of a job or opportunities.
That's very inspirational. The future holds so much opportunity for the people who like to see opportunities there. And just just I got to know that we have discussed so much about the food and delicacies that exist, but you yourself is not that much foodie. Right, is that the case?
Yeah, that is right. That is right. That is right. It's very funny that I have a very very mechanical and a boring way of looking at curiosity driven questions. But yeah, I do enjoy my food to a large extent today, but I didn't used to do that so much because culturally I have been imbibed with this idea that what is on our plate, please eat it. Remember that until the green revolution and milk revolution happened in Indian subcontinent, for the last a few centuries, we have had famines, and we did not have enough to eat. Let's not forget that. So if you go back to our grandparents generation, probably there were times in different parts of India, of course it was variable in different parts of the world, India, we did not have enough to eat. Therefore, the part of India that I come from, which is South Maharashtra and North Karnataka, is a famine ridden zone where there is not enough water. Even there is a water scarcity that you must have heard about in some parts of Maharashtra, which I'm
Yep.
talking about right now. Okay, Marathwada region, etc. So I'm not very far from that region, Solapur. So I was imbibed with this notion that what is on your plate, eat. Don't complain or don't be too fussy about your food. So having grown with that notion, I have not been fussy or a foodie for that matter. But well, it so happens that thanks to my studies, I have gotten inculcated with different notions of food and cooking. While I can't call myself a foodie even today, but I am getting more and more knowledgeable and eat more mindfully and tastefully than what I used to eat 8 years back. But thanks for asking and raising that question, Vikasji.
Yes, and that's so inspiring. That the way you connect the things and get inspired by so many things. My last question, I think I have already asked so many questions to you, and thanks to you that you have been patient enough to answer all my queries and curiosities. I read somewhere that astronomer to gastronomer.
Yes,
Just
yes,
tell
it
me
was in
a
my
bit more
profile.
about that.
Yeah, why not? Why not? So you know what? It's very funny. And even Steve Jobs, in one of his convocation addresses, I presume it was Stanford, he has said about how dots join, right?
Yeah,
And of course, you
connecting the
should listen
dots.
to. Yeah, you should listen to you. You figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So how dots can join from the past. So my point is this: as long as you pursue things with that rigor and passion, hopefully and mostly things fall in place. You join dots. But in yeah, so the way things have worked in my life is that I have aspired as a teenager, which is an important period in anybody's life for that matter, to be an astronomer. Wanted to be an astronomer all the time. I used to always watch sky, be under the sky. Then, in fact, I did my master's in physics and did my master's thesis in an astrophysics institution. It's called Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics. That's where I worked on, right? And that's how my journey was. But I never could do PhD because after my master's, nowhere I could get PhD because it's so competitive. Right from TIFR, NCRA, IUCA, Indian Institute of Astrophysics, RRI, all the places rejected. I mean, not immediately, but after first round, second round, I could not get in, essentially speaking, and do PhD there in astrophysics. But it's an interesting turn of events that has brought me from astronomy to gastronomy. So that's a kind of a pun, but at the same time, an interesting pun. And that brings me to that interesting quote, which I always quote in my interactions, which is that in IUCA, in the canteen of IUCA, where astrophysicists are eating, they have a quote which is written, which says that the discovery of a new dish confers more happiness on humanity than the discovery of a new star. And this has been said by none other than Brilla Savarin, the author of The Physiology of Taste, a book which was written 200 years back. So it's funny that, and it's very humble of these astronomers that they are keeping this quote in their canteen. And it was, I mean, long after I started this work, I was reminded of that quote, and I laughed at myself, thinking that, hey, looks like my life has come from astronomy to gastronomy. That's the story.
And again, it's a very inspiring story. The way you connected the dot, your personal experience, and I think it's coming from my personal experience as well. Just to share quickly that uh, when I was in college, I wanted to get into hacking, the cyber security part, and I strategically moved. So earlier, I started working with IBM, and within IBM, I changed my project to cyber security project, and then I moved to McAfee. So my one observation, probably when you talked about the astronomy, I think it's less about the subject sometime, but more about doing the biggest possible. So I think that's the possible, the adventurous mind of a youth, that I want to do the most complex thing. And in early life, we only get to know few things. So astronomy, it's not a rocket science, that kind of thing comes into our mind. So we want to do the challenging. So for example, for a
Yeah.
security person, hackers are doing the extreme thing. So probably that could have been my trigger point. But when I actually got into this, I realized that there are bigger problems that we can solve. It's not just security
Indeed.
and those things.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. I think that's how things work. I can't explain it better than taking my life as a template. However, that is not the best template for anyone to use, but that's how it has been for me so far, Vikasji.
And I disagree on that point. I think your life has been the template that a youth can follow if they want to do a life changing project. They want to pursue a dream which is going to impact the masses. I think that's your life is a journey. So you can always say, definitely as a humble person, you may not like to say that, but uh, bend it like Beckham, so you will definitely find an interesting connotation to that part.
Yes,
Having said
yes,
that,
yes.
thanks for your time.
Yeah.
I can't thank you like enough for the kind of insights that we have received. Simple Setia is also sharing insightful session. Ganesh, thanks for sharing your knowledge and expertise. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
all the viewers and future viewers as well who are going to watch
Yeah.
this session, it is going to be a life changing. I think I'm still using a small word for that. It's going to be life changing for them, what they are going to hear, the direct information and the indirect insight which you have shared through this message. Thanks again, Dr. Bagler,
Thanks a
for
lot.
being a
Thanks a lot.
part of
I would like to just end on one note. We stay in this Indian subcontinent, and we are used to knowing various aspects of science being discovered in different parts of the world. I would like to take this opportunity to give that moment of joy, moment of pride of thinking that this science started here, grew here, and is now accepted by the world. So feel proud, and we can do great, as we have been doing long back also. We can do great, and we should be continuing to do great things always, and not always be influenced and be followers all the time. That's one of the last messages that I would like to pass as we part. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, and I'm sure there cannot be a better message that what we are doing. I think every Indian, especially, is having that insight that how they can do the bigger things and can do a life changing thing. So I'm sure things are going in the right direction, and things will go in the right direction. With that, again, Professor Bagler, thanks for taking out time and being on the VectoScalar Tech Talk show.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks again.
And thanks to viewers for being on the show. I'm sure you also got excited about what you have heard so far on this show. Keep watching, keep following VectoScalar Tech Talk for such interesting session. Bye bye, and have a nice day ahead.